This is Into Deep with Geoff Goddard, elevating your mental and physical well-being as we explore the minds, strategies and stories behind the humans making an impact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Into Deep podcast. My guest today is Kaye Scott, more affectionately known as the Glamour in the boxing world. So we will delve a little bit deeper into how she copped this nickname in the show. World title winner, Commonwealth Games medal winner. She's achieved so much in the sport of boxing. Really excited to pick her brain and get under the hood here and figure out what makes her tick and hear a little bit more about her life and mindset. So Kaye, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. I'm keen to have a chat and see where we go with things.
Okay, so professional boxer. I want to know how did it all begin for you? How did you enter the boxing domain?
Well, it's pretty common now to hear about girls in combat sports now. It's not really an unusual thing, but it was quite a long time ago that I got into it, and there really were no girls around at all when I did. So I kind of grew up with dancing and netball and your more traditional kind of girly sports. But after I finished high school and started uni, I was a bit bored. I'd been playing kind of like high-level netball, state league stuff, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I started just doing boxercise type classes at a gym, and the coach there used to take some boys afterwards, and he was actually a boxing coach, and he'd train them properly, and he kind of started getting in my ear going, like, you throw a punch really well for a girl. Like, you should hang back after the class and I can teach you some real stuff if you want to go. And I was just like, nah. But after
how old were you when you started?
Like 19, 20.
Okay.
I was at uni then.
Okay.
And he kept pestering. I was like, okay. I dragged my best friend along with me. I was like, let's just do it one time, see how it is. And I fell in love with it from then. We had to do like a tiny bit of like touch partner work stuff where you're just hitting each other on the shoulder, and I walked out totally in love with it going, this is so new, it's so different, it's like challenging. And she walked out of it going, you punched me on the shoulder really hard. I hate that. I'm never doing it again. So that kind of ignited the passion.
So two totally different personalities, you and your friend, obviously. One stuck with it for life.
So I started attending more of those classes after, and then I ended up kind of like signing up at the local PCYC club.
Yeah. And so tell me, like,
from there.
You mentioned like this is back when women in sport was very different, and I presume boxing of all sports was much more male dominated. Yeah. What did that feel like stepping foot into a gym like PCYC, where I don't know how many females there, but like, take me back to that 19-year-old stepping into a gym.
I was so scared actually going in. I was like, I want to do this, but like, I don't know, I'm really scared going downstairs. And then I walked inside the gym and there's no girls. Like big guys grunting on the bags, and I was pretty much ignored for the first 3 months going down there. It wasn't like a formalized class you go into, you just kind of drop in and go do your thing, and I had no idea what I was doing. In a fitness class, you're told power, hook, power, and you just do the combination over again. The coach in there was just like, okay, do 3-3 shadow and then get on the bag, and I'm like, shadow? What's shadow? And he's just like, just punch in the air, and I felt like the biggest idiot for so long. I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I was pretty much ignored for the first 2 months. And I think it's because they see so many people that go, I'm going to come in and train, and they're not going to spend all their time on someone. But I just kept turning up. And I think he was like, going to have to give her a bit of attention.
Yeah. And so what, like, most people would probably walk in there and go, oh, fuck, not for me. Like, no one's welcoming you. Everyone's sort of staring at you, guys grunting. What made you say?
I don't know. I think it's probably just my attitude. I really enjoyed that it was a new sport for me, and that it was like challenging for me to be good at. And I wanted to become good at. So I was like, I'll just keep turning up and doing. I'm not really a quitter.
So you love it enough, and you're just like, fuck it, I'll just be willing to eat the shit that comes with it for the first couple of months,
much.
and then it goes from there. Okay, so if I could pinpoint what is it exactly you love about boxing?
Well, I've been in the sport for 15, 20 years now, and I can still feel like an absolute novice at times. I love that it's constantly evolving, that you are never out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 and can't stop learning. Like you get a new person coming in at you, like at sparring or partner work, and they bring something different that you're like, you got to problem solve to fix it up. It's not the exact same thing every time. So that's what I like. I like that it challenges me physically and it challenges me mentally as well.
And you feel like obviously boxing, and I think most fighting sports in general, it's complete like flow state. Like you're not thinking, you can't think about anything other than what you're doing. Do you sort of get that feeling as well?
I like when you can get into that headspace. It's really nice.
Yeah.
When it flows perfectly, it's something really, really special.
And so, you've been doing it, you said 19 years? Yeah.
Probably.
It's
It's
about
a long time.
almost
Too
2
long.
decades. So like, have you found that you've been, I guess, a beacon of hope for also women entering the sport?
Yeah, that's been a big part of the journey. So when I had been at the PCYC for quite a while, I started watching the boys' shows, and like Saturday night they'd go and fight, and I then asked the coach, and I was like, "Oh, do you think like maybe if I trained for 6 months really hard, like I could have a fight like them?" And he pretty much just said no, and I was like, "Oh, like am I that bad? Like what's?" And he's like, "Do you see any girls here?" And I was like, "Oh, no, not really." He's like, "It's because it's illegal in New South Wales for girls to fight."
I don't know.
So when I started, it was still a law. It was illegal for females to compete and fight in boxing. So I was like, oh, okay. But luckily for me, shortly after that, the law did change because it was introduced into the 2012 Olympics. So the first time females being included. So I think this was 2000 and when was I? It was either 2007 or 2009. And the law changed because we had to make it equal for if we were going to be sending an Australian team.
Yeah.
We couldn't have, okay, if you live in Western Australia, you can trial for the Olympics, but if you live in New South Wales, you can't. So they changed it. And I actually was the first legally sanctioned female bout in New South Wales.
Holy shit, that's huge.
So, yeah, it was pretty hectic. Actually had like a Channel 7 crew there. You can imagine how scared.
Oh, so for your first fight. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I'm like out in the hallway. They've got no idea what's even going on. And there's like this camera crew in my face. It was the worst fight ever. I was just throwing haymakers. Everything that I learned in training just went out the window.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to be part of that journey. And that's why I've been a real advocate of the evolution of women, and I've just seen so much over my journey. Like when I first started the Olympics, I only had 3 weight divisions for the women. Same with the Commonwealth Games. I was in the first, when the females were introduced, I made that team for the first time, and there was only 3 weight divisions. We now have 7 weight divisions, and it keeps increasing, and the opportunities for women keep increasing, and I am a big advocate for that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's rapidly expanding basically.
Yeah.
And I think across all sports you see it's gaining popularity,
100%.
which is amazing. So I've got 2 daughters, so
I love that.
I absolutely love to see that. If I asked you to tell us about your proudest boxing moment, what would that be?
I reckon it would probably be the world titles that I've just won back in December over in Detroit. But I feel like that is more an accomplishment, not just from winning those world titles, but I felt that that was an accumulation of my whole amateur career that came before me. To be in that number 1 spot, I felt like it was everything that I've done over the past kind of 18, 19 years that allowed me to become a world champion, actually have that number 1 spot. Because in the amateurs, I won international golds, but in the big events like the world championships and Commonwealth Games and stuff, like I won a bronze at Commonwealth, I won a silver at Commonwealth, I won a silver at the world championships, but I never got the number 1 spot. And it's always quite hard in the amateurs because the medal ceremonies are directly after. So you're happy that you're number 2 in the world and you got a silver, but at the same time, 5 minutes ago, you just lost the bout that you thought that you could get a gold medal for. So you're up there on the podium kind of being, oh, I'm number 2, but also I just lost that bout, and you're trying to process all those emotions.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet. It sounds
It's
like.
really bittersweet, always being like that silver medal, and I swear I had that curse. I never got the gold spot
So
on
finally-
the big events, and it was that moment of like, I've got the gold spot, and I could just be so truly proud of like everything that's come before me, and I was just really proud of my coach and my team, and I had my mum there over in Detroit, so it was a really special moment.
That's beautiful. So run me back to the fight in December. What emotion when you finally won and you found out you were world champion? What emotion was running through your body?
It was just pure joy, and like actually being really proud of myself. A lot of the times, especially in my amateur career, I was really very, very hard on myself in my performances and never being happy enough, and then always wanting to chase the next thing straight away. But I could just like be like, wow, you did a really good job. Like you're deserving of this. Like you've worked really, really hard, and it was really nice to be able to actually take that on board and be like, I am so proud and I am so happy, and like this is my moment.
That's amazing. And I'd assume a lot of high-level athletes whip themselves to success, right? So was there a turning point for you where you were like, I can actually just be proud now and I can put the whip away a little bit? Or
I think it's really only just
you had to get number one
honestly,
first.
in the last 12 months, I've kind of like been able to give myself that permission to do that. I've always been a little bit of a perfectionist, and I guess it's the way that the amateurs run as well. Like you win one tournament, and you 3 weeks later we're going to the next country and competing in another tournament. And you're just like, okay, I've got to do the next thing. There was no kind of like on-off season with it. It just kind of went constantly, and then you're trying to make the next Australian team, and there's another qualifiers for something else. The pros allows a little bit more of that because you fight less. You only kind of fight 2 to 4 times a year. 4 times would be really busy, so you can, and just with my maturity as well, I guess. Yeah, like to say it's with a bit of wisdom and maturity that's come with age.
We're getting there.
Maybe I was a bit slow doing it, but I've got there.
So tell me, do you think that 12 months of being a little bit kinder to yourself helped you win the world title in a way?
I do. I think so. Obviously, I'm very competitive person, and I want to win, and all I want to do is win. But I've realized now that if I don't win, it's not the absolute end of the world. Whereas kind of I'd just hate on myself if I'd lost other things and I'm not good enough, I'm not all this. Whereas now I'm just like, you know what? I know I gave everything I could in that camp. And I've kind of learnt now my team and my close circle they're behind me whether I win or whether I lose. Like it's amazing if you can win and you can put it all together, but it doesn't necessarily mean I didn't work as hard in that fight camp beforehand. It just wasn't meant to be, or I couldn't pull it out. Like that's sport sometimes as well. Like the better team doesn't always win. They couldn't put it together on the night. It didn't gel, or there's lots of different reasons why, but sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Yeah, 100%. And we talk about this on the podcast a lot, just detaching from the outcome. And as long as you know that you've tried your best, then what can you really do? You can't beat yourself up too much, right?
Yeah, that's totally it. And it's hard to actually come to an understanding like that, to actually go, you know what, it is okay.
Well, 18 years of beating yourself up, basically, sounds like. And we finally got there. So well done. So tell me, what have you most learned from boxing that you can take to your day-to-day life?
I feel like boxing and just sport in general, it doesn't have to be boxing. It creates habits and qualities that transfer into everyday life for you to become, I guess, successful would be the word, or a good person, confident. Like, I guess it's just turning up, showing that if you turn up to regular training sessions, consistency, that you will eventually get results. It's kind of learning things like discipline. It's learning there's so many just qualities that you get from being part of a team, working with other people that transfer then into relationships. It works into your separate work. So you're a good communicator and leader within your team. I think all those traits are really, really built well within a sporting context.
Yeah, no, that totally resonates with me. I think I don't have any world titles and was not amazing.
It doesn't
but
have to be at a high level.
yeah,
though.
no, of course. Like sport probably saved me in high school because I was a bit of a no-hope when it came to the books, but like sport kept me sort of, I guess, grounded. Teaches you how to community, how to work with other people, how to work hard towards something, dedicate yourself. So it definitely shaped who I am in my older years, playing a lot of sport in high school. So I totally feel that.
And I think it's a big one for, we said before, I like what it can do for women. And it's helping them build a confidence within themselves and kind of giving them some leadership skills as well, which they can shy away from. I really think that sport it doesn't, like I said, doesn't have to be, everyone's like, oh, it has to be combat. It doesn't have to be combat. It really helps bring them out of their shell and build their confidence level.
Yeah. Well, I could imagine a woman learning to hit the shit out of a bag would be quite empowering in a way as well. So
And I know I can hold myself against most people, so it really does kind of foster that confidence.
So we've spoken about the peak of your career so far, world title in December. What was the most challenging moment of your career so far up to date?
I would probably say I was in the amateurs a very, very long time. People have always asked, like, why didn't you turn pro earlier? It's probably because my passion was with the amateur scene. And I loved representing our country. And my goal had always been like the Olympics. When I was a little girl, it wasn't boxing that I watched. It was Kathy Freeman and it was Kieran Perkins. And I was just like, wow, like I'd love to be able to do that. Although I never actually made it to the Olympics, I fell short of it. There was a bit of a change in the last Olympic cycle that I wanted to make for Paris. So my 70 kilo weight division, which was the one that I'd been really successful, got a silver at Commonwealth Games, silver at the World Championships. And I was like, this is my moment. There was a bit of a change with the governing body that was in charge of the Olympics and boxing. It changed from IBA to being charged with world boxing, and they actually changed the weight divisions for the women. So my division got taken out because there's only select weight divisions, and it got moved down to welterweight, which is 66 kilos.
Yeah, right, fuck.
And I fired in the pros at 72, and I'd say I'm like I'm not super lean, but I'm a relatively lean girl. So you can imagine me making 66 kilos. So I was like, that's all right, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I did. I got down there, but I didn't perform at that weight, and I made it through to the finals in the qualifiers, and I lost against our other Aussie girl that got the spot and went over there, and she was deserving of getting that. I wasn't able to fight at the best of my ability, and that was really, really crushing.
Yeah.
And I stopped boxing for a little bit after that, and I was like, there's nothing else in the amateurs that I want to do. I was like, I've already been to 3 Commonwealth Games. I've won medals at the World Championships. I don't need to keep doing this.
Yeah.
But after I sat back and I was like, I'd never had a dream to go pro or anything. I was like, after a little bit of a break, I was like, I'm not done yet. Like, I still love the sport and I think I still want to compete. I've still got that competitive edge. And then I guess changing to the pro scene, then that gave me a whole new lease on boxing because you kind of learn stuff. It's the same sport, but there's lots of different changes. So definitely just processing that and then learning who I would be without boxing, which I probably haven't really done yet because I did jump back into deciding that I'm not done with it. But that was pretty hard to go through.
I could imagine the feeling of your weight division getting pulled. What was the first emotion going through your body when you found out the 70 kilo division was gone?
I was just like, I don't care. I can make it at 66.
So I love the determination.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to lose that. But then we did go through some actual struggles of going Boxing Australia were quite smart in that regard. They were like, well, look, we want you to go down there, but there's like health considerations, because they did think we're going to make you do DEXAs and everything and make sure that it's actually healthy for you to be able to do it. And I was, whether you can even make it. And they did say that it'll be hard, but I can make the weight. And I did make the weight, but it was whether I could perform at that weight.
Well, good on you. Well, you bounced back to a world title, so fuck yeah. How good. So tell me, you mentioned, and I had a bit of an identity crisis like this. I've been lifting weights since I was like 12 or 13, like nonstop pretty much since that age. I'm now 37. And I used to think like, oh, who would I be if I couldn't lift weights? Like if that was just taken away from me. So I had a surgery mid last year and I had these severe stomach pains that went on for like a month or two, and I couldn't run,
at all.
couldn't lift weights, and I had like a severe depression like I've never felt. And it was also identity. Plus I do it for my mental health and physical health, but like the identity of like, who, if I can't lift weights, who am I? So you mentioned you found out who Kaye Scott was behind the boxing. So who is Kaye Scott without the boxing?
I feel like I didn't fully deep dive into that, because it was only a short period that I came away from it. I think eventually when my retirement comes, I'm probably going to go through that pretty hard. But I realize that that's not, it is a big part of me, but it's not
just
everything.
One part, right?
It's just one part. I think I'm a strong woman. I'm an advocate for women. I'm an advocate for sport, training, what exercising and sport can do for you and your mental health as well as your physical health. And I think the mental health thing is a big thing. And I work as a personal trainer, and I see so many clients that are doing it not just for the weight loss journey, but like they need to be in there to have a moment from themselves away from their family and their job. And it is such a big part of staying like mentally on the right track.
100%.
And I love that I can kind of help do that for people. And help them guide the way. Because a lot of women, as I said, they don't have the confidence to step up and go into the gym, especially if they weren't exposed to it at a younger age. It's like awesome that we were in the gym early age and we're like, oh, go to the gym. There's so many girls that are just like, all they just walk on the treadmill. They're like, oh, no, I can't go to that area.
And look, you're so lucky, and people are lucky who get to train with you, because people are there to connect with you as well. It's more than, you're not like some boxing robot who just goes do these sets and reps. Like they're there to connect with you. So they're getting human connection as well as physical, mental health. Like the benefits are endless, really.
Yeah. Like I end up being like close friends with a lot of my
close friends / therapists.
Therapist / everything. Yeah, there's definitely those parts in it too. But like you end up having like friendships with them. There's someone I went through like 3 pregnancies with her and going through the journeys of that and learning who their family are. And it's pretty awesome thing to be part of. I remember initially, it's like I did quite well in high school, and I think my parents kind of wanted me to be a little bit more than a personal trainer, and they're so proud of me now. But like initially I started doing med science out of school and all that kind of stuff, and I was almost like a little bit, I guess, embarrassed that I'm just a personal trainer kind of thing. It was kind of like, you can do so much more than that. But now I feel like I play a really important role, and I'm not embarrassed now if someone says like, what do you do for a profession? I used to kind of be like, oh, personal trainer, but I've done a sports science degree, and I've done like almost had to kind of like count.
It's
I'm
so
like,
fun.
but I've done this, and I'm like an athlete, and I do this. Whereas now I'm like, oh, I'm a personal trainer and I'm a boxing athlete. That's what I am.
Yeah, I had the exact same issue. I actually went to uni and I did a fucking business degree, which I had zero interest in, because I thought I was like, sports science, that's not good enough. Like I can't just do that. Like, so I went and did a business degree that I fucking hated every minute of. I worked in marketing for a year, fucking hated myself every day for that year. Anyway, I sort of found my way there eventually, but I was the exact same. Felt like, oh, I'm just a personal trainer, and like, definitely had that issues when I was younger as well.
It was my daddy issues. My dad, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it for dad.
Yeah, there you go. Well, now you won a world title, so there you go. So tell me, would you change anything about the sport of boxing if you could? Obviously, keeping the 70-kilo women's in the Olympics would be the first point of order.
I guess it's tricky. I like that the evolution of the changes for women are coming, but there's probably, I guess, maybe the opportunities more for women and the coverage by the media. There's still huge things compensation wise or like payment for women. It's improving, but it's still pretty poor. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you won a world title, and they hear things like Tim Zoo and stuff like that, and he's a multi-millionaire, and I used to have a hospitality job where I work on the side as well, and I'm a personal trainer and I train full-time as an athlete, and they're like, oh, you're gonna quit the hospitality shift, aren't you? And I'm like,
Can't.
no, I can't. Like, he's like, yeah, but like Tim Zoo, and he's got like 5 cars, he's got a Ferrari. And I was like, my first world title that I lost in Sydney, I got paid $5,000. When I spoke to an American podcast, they're like, $5,000. And I'm like, yeah, that was 2 years ago. That's what we got paid.
Yeah, holy shit, so still
like-
recent.
Like that's something that I'd love to change or maybe change more rapidly for us to happen. Yeah.
And then that just comes with more eyeballs, more popularity, all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
and,
so I guess
and
more
it's
exposure.
happening, but it's just probably like it's hard because in my lifetime it's not going to happen to change things. But I'm still going to be a big advocate.
Yeah,
so
you'll be
people
passing the
down the
torch.
track
Yeah.
can be able to train as a full-time athlete, and they don't have to have a full-time job as well.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, do you think much about life after boxing?
I'm pretty bad in that because people are like, what are you going to do after? And I'm like, I don't
Cross
really
that bridge
know.
when we get to it. Yeah.
My only other thoughts that I've always liked, I could never sit behind a desk, and I know probably don't want to be a personal trainer just for the rest of my life. I'd probably keep that as a little side hustle, but I've always loved the fireys. So I have already kind of looked online a little bit with that to see what you'd have to do, but there's nothing I can do right now because you basically you trial, and if you make
gotta
it,
dedicate
then you
yourself.
need to
Yeah,
go on,
100%.
and I can't do that while I'm still chasing the pro career with the
of
boxing.
course.
But maybe I can.
Something to
maybe a
bookmark for a
firefighter.
later date. Yeah. So tell me about the nickname, the Glamour.
Oh, there's nothing too much behind it. I'm not very good with names, and I didn't have anything. But when I was back in the amateurs, I did get named the Glamour a few times, and I guess that was because back then there was probably the image of a lot of female fighters then did fit that stereotypical, I guess you're more masculine.
Yeah.
Was a lot of tattoos and all that kind of stuff. And I was really like the odd one out. I turned up in my pinklet singlet top and my
Pink shoes
high
today. She shows up to my
ponytail, and
house,
I loved still having like makeup on, and that's just what I did. And I remember one time when I came out in one of the amateur nights, he was like, and Kaye Scott, the Glamour with the hammer. And I used to get teased after that. All the boys in the team used to be like, here's the Glamour with the hammer. And it just kind of stuck with me. So when I couldn't think of a pro name, I was just like, all right, the Glamour. I'm going to put it in there.
Glamour with a hammer.
So, yeah.
There we go. We're going to take a little turn and start talking a little bit more about your personal life.
Sure.
I want you to tell us what's the hardest thing you've been through and how did you get through that?
I'd probably say back at the end of high school, my parents are divorced now, and probably going through that was really challenging for me because I loved the family unit, and I was just so scared that we've got a family of 8, so 6 kids.
Wow, where do you
with
sit
my
in the
parents.
hierarchy?
And I'm in the middle, number
Right in the
three,
middle, okay.
number 3 of 6. And I was just, I guess, really scared what was going to happen to the family. And even though I was older then, I was like end of year 12, it was all happening.
Yeah.
But it was just really hard to process. And even though I knew it was coming, I was like, I knew my parents, they probably should have got divorced like 5 years before that. It was like an unhappy environment there, but I was just like, no, you can't do that. I was like, you can't do that to me. A bit selfish. I was like, but you get through it, and it's been the best thing. And in hindsight, I think it is the best thing for them and for the family. And we're still a really tight-knit family. And my parents are so good with each other. Like my dad still minds the dogs for my mum when she works in Sydney and stuff like that. They've kept a really good dynamic with each other. It's not been one of those things where you like can't talk, and we do Christmas still together. We don't have to go separately and see the families. But I guess I was just really scared of losing that.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So you were 17, 18 basically
year
when that
12.
happened. And did that impact you for a while? Like when did you sort of flip your attitude? Because you said you were being a little bit self-centered, being like, you guys can't do this to me type thing. How long?
So long ago.
You can't
I
remember.
don't even know if I can remember that. I still think it took me a little while. I probably should have been quicker with being able to realise it's
Look, I say it's really hard for older kids, right? So I've got 2 young daughters. They would have been about 5 and 3 when we divorced, and like the youngest one had no fucking clue. My oldest one still sort of says like, "Oh, I wish you could still be with mummy," but like, you know, they say when you're older, you kind of blame yourself. Like, what did I do wrong? Why are you guys doing this to me? Type thing. So it can be harder.
Yeah, I think so because, like you said, the younger ones don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. They'll never know any
I was kinda
different.
like, they don't know any different. But yeah, as I said, in hindsight, I realised it was the right
Yeah,
thing.
and it helps that they have a great relationship, and I'm sure that eased things a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, what is your definition of success?
Okay. There's a few different elements that come into it. I think one that you can't avoid that like is to be not rich but financially stable. I think that does play an element in things. You don't want to be, I feel like you can't be happy if you're worried 24/7 of being able to pay the mortgage or can I fill up the car for fuel. It doesn't mean you need to be like a millionaire or anything like that, but being financially stable is super important. I then would say having health and happiness. So you need to make an effort with your physical health. You don't have to be a gym person, but you need to go out and walk. And I think you need to lift weights once a week, no matter who you are. So having that kind of balance there. You need to be happy.
And what does that look like for you outside of boxing?
I think that's having like a friendship circle. I think that's having a close relationship or a relationship with parts of your family. I think that you need to have a purpose and a job, or feeling like that you wake up in the morning and there's like a reason to get out of bed. There's a reason there. That would be the main kind of things there. And then I also think maybe making either an impact on other individuals or making an impact on the world within your life.
Yeah.
And I think I get that with my job as a personal trainer. People tell me regularly, like, these sessions mean I don't know what I'd do without it if I didn't come on. And then also I think in my career as well, I feel like I've helped be a role model for other women and helping kind of knock down some barriers that have been presented, and knowing like that's not a roadblock for you. We can keep moving forward. So yeah, I think those elements are pretty important.
Yeah, so basically giving back to a wider community and having something greater than yourself. And you mentioned purpose. What do you feel your current purpose is at the moment?
What's your purpose?
big old question.
I would say to help guide people for a healthy lifestyle, and helping break down barriers and show how important sport is for women.
Okay. I love that. And so if any women are listening and they're sort of struggling with determination and motivation and I guess drive, what would you tell them?
I'd encourage them to pick up a sport, pick something that they choose, be part of, like, if you don't like individual sports, be part of a team. Like, you're just going to grow so much from that experience. whether it's only for one semester or whether it's for the next 3 years. It's going to be a social aspect that you'll learn. You'll actually develop skills, physical skills, and then you're going to learn teamwork, showing up each time, even when you feel like you don't want to. There's so many things that are just going to filter and foster down for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get involved. It's kind of, I think, the parents' role to, they might be an academic type person, but still getting them in some kind of sport. Even if it's only for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's got its role.
Yeah, it's very important to lead by example for your kids as well. Like they watch what you do, right? They don't listen to what you say. If you're telling them to go, oh, you should be doing like footy training, and you're sitting on your ass
And the whole time.
exactly eating macas, that's not, you need to really lead by example. And unfortunately, like kids, that's where they develop these habits. Like I've started playing sport at a very young age, and that's something I stuck with for my whole entire life. And so it's a lot easier to get them into it when they're younger.
Easy because you're such an important role model for them.
Yeah.
As I've loved it when I've actually got a few long-term clients, and I've trained a few of them outside, and they've had little kids, and they come over, and when they're exposed to that, they walk over and they see their mum doing a kettlebell squat, and there's a little one over there, and they wander over and they want to do what their parents are doing.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome. And I now have one of them that has her daughter that's now kind of like 10 years old, and she's pretty sporty, and she sometimes says, oh, like it's school holiday time. She's like, oh, do you mind if my daughter comes along as well? She really wants to come and train with me. And I'm like, that's because she's been exposed to it since she was young, and she loves it.
Yeah.
It's so cool seeing that. I'm like, I remember when you were just like a little kid.
Yeah. I watched my little 4-year-old. She picks up 2 kilo dumbbells and she like shoulder presses them, and I'm like, whoa, like she's 4, But I'm like, don't break a foot. If you drop that, her foot's gonna be broken. So tell me, Kaye, when's the last time you surprised yourself?
To be honest, I think I do that pretty regularly. I love seeing, I probably overestimate my talents sometimes. I love seeing little challenges on like TikTok and Instagram of like all these little fitnessy type challenges, especially kind of like gymnastics. But I've never done gymnastics in my life, but I did used to dance and stuff when I was little, and some people will send them to me like, oh, try this. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be able to do that. And then a lot of the time, especially with the gymnastics ones, I'm like, I fail. I try to do it 1,000 times, but then sometimes, the other day, I should show you later, I did this cool little TRX little handstand into a kind of straddle into a handstand thing, but it took me a half an hour of getting it wrong.
You're like a TikTok trick advocate, is that what you're saying?
It's so fun to just try things and then try to problem solve yourself. I'm like, I don't really know how to do that. I was like, maybe I'll put my hands more forward. I was like, no, that was worse. I was like, move my hands more backwards. And I'm like, so I figured out that little trick the other day, but it took me falling out of the TRX and banging on my hands like about 20 times before I actually got it right. But I often do. I was like, oh, I did that. Like,
well, it's cool. I think humans have like a drive to conquer new things. You know what I mean? And like you obviously work in one domain, the boxing domain, so to like do something completely different, it's probably like quite refreshing for your brain.
It is. And I like the little, like I said, the problem solving with things. There's no kind of like, you just watch someone else doing it and you're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. But there was no step-by-step saying, set your hands up here, lift your hips and do this. So I just kind of plonked on the first one and my feet fell out of it and I crashed down on the ground. I was like, okay, that's not how you do it. Let's try to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. So TikTok tricks. I'm going to check you out on TikTok and see if you got any on there actually. So tell the people, so how do you deal with setbacks? And you kind of clued at this, when the Olympic thing went pear-shaped, you took a little break, but then you got straight back on the horse. So when life hands you lemons, what does Kaye Scott do?
Make lemonade.
Oh, that's an easy one. You walked into that one.
I think you're allowed to feel all the feels that's attached with it. You don't want to just move on straight away. You have to process how you feel. Like with any setbacks, whether it's a relationship breakdown, whether it's a huge goal that you had in your work career or your sporting career or something like that. But there gets to a point where I think you've got to then go, okay, this has happened. Am I just going to keep dwelling on it and being like, this is unfair? Like going back there, 70 kilos was supposed to be in it. This is unfair. I should have done this and just wallow in it. And you get to a point where you go, you know what? It changed. You didn't qualify in the 66. What do you want to do moving forward?
Yeah.
And then you got to then go through those feels and go, all right, am I done with boxing? Am I not done with boxing? And then set some new goals.
Yeah.
And it's definitely hard to do. But I guess I've seen within my own circle of people that have done things well and people that haven't done things well. And I guess I know someone that's gone through a really hard divorce. And it was really unfair. And she had 20 years and 3 kids and she hasn't been able to, like, we're going on 5 years and it's still not moving forward on it. And I was like, oh, like everyone takes a different timeline, but there gets to a point now where you can't be like just constantly upset with the world and upset and just being like, that's your reference back to.
Yeah.
I was like, it is really hard, but okay, something else is, you got to move forward from this. You
100%.
can't just keep falling back on that.
No, I love that advice. So yeah, you're telling people they can feel the feels, feel that it sucks, and then there's a point where you just have to pick yourself up, right? Like, because you can't feel the feels for, like you said, half a decade, 5 years, then you're 10 years. And that hits home as well. So I went through a divorce as well, maybe about 3 years ago. And I was feeling really sorry for myself being a single dad. I had all this time that I dedicated to have my kids on my own. And I was like, oh, I don't have time to do this. And
Like, how am I going to?
Yeah, I was like running this story in my head for a long time, a couple of years of like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Instead of just going like, cool, this is your life now. Like,
It's a change.
Shut
It's
the
different.
fuck up and you can still do the things you want to do. Just stop complaining. So yeah, just the mindset, knowing that I need to stop feeling sorry for myself. Because like
because it's not going to change. That's your new circumstance, isn't it?
And I think in this day and age, it's like the world can be a little bit too like snowflakey, like a little bit too, validate all your experiences and your feelings. But then at some stage, like,
like,
how long can you do that for? Do you know what I mean? Before you have to fucking pick yourself up and go again. So
it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And it is okay. Take your time and everything like that. But
not too much.
10 years of like feeling sorry for yourself and not making other goals and everything, like you're wasting your time and your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to put your big boy or big girl pants on and just move forward.
Yeah, 100% agree. Okay, Kaye, professional athlete, world title holder. Do you have any rituals?
I've really, I don't have any big things for that. And we're kind of taught that a little bit in the amateur world because we travel around the world. You can't always get that situation to be exactly the same, and I'd never want to be
like lucky undies or something like.
Yeah, but what happens? I'd freak out. What if I
got
couldn't
lost in the
find my
wash or
good
something.
undies or something like that? Then I'd go into the bout being going, you're gonna lose
That's
because you
actually
don't
pretty
have
smart.
those
Yeah,
favorite undies. And I actually remember really badly. There was this. I did little athletics for like one term, and there was this girl called Samantha that was a really, really good sprinter, and she used to have this fluoro yellow ribbon, and she used to always like win. And I remember, I don't know, must have been a terrible person, but one time I pulled the ribbon out of her hair. She lost that final.
Oh my God, it was a lucky ribbon.
I know. So I learned early on, do not have anything that has to be a prerequisite to go right.
Yeah, okay. How funny. So no lucky charms, no little rituals, nothing like that. Okay, cool. Is there anything you do outside of boxing and sport and physical movement that lights you up?
To be honest, it's like any movement. I just love exercise. Maybe I'm addicted to the endorphin rush.
Yeah.
Like even on my like days off when I'm really tired, like I still want to go and like go to a nice hiking trail or something like that, or walk down near the beach. I just love movement and the way it makes my body feel.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned being an addict. I told you I had that surgery last year, and I was in like debilitating pain, and I was going to the gym anyway. I was like, I have to go to the gym. Like it had been like 3-4 weeks, and I'm like, I'm just going, and I was in so much pain. And I just went, and I felt so much, even though I was in pain, mentally I felt so much better from doing that. So totally get that.
Yeah, every time when I've had a major injury, I'm like, there's no excuse. I was like, if I've done my ankle and I'm in a boot, I'll go to the gym and still just do an upper body session.
Yeah.
I was like, there's always something that can make me feel okay. Like
that's what I thought as well. I was like, oh, just do like arms or like, something isolated, excruciating pain. I'm like, I'll just go for a jog. The jogging would like anything hurt me. And I was like, oh my, I actually can't even do a fucking calf raise without my stomach being in pieces. So that would
have been tough.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Funny because the next question is, what's something you couldn't live without?
100% movement. I would not be able to live my life without some kind of movement.
Yeah. What if your answer couldn't be movement? What's something else you couldn't live without?
I do like my morning coffee.
Okay.
I am very reliant on coffee.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a ritual, a little bit of a morning thing you got going.
I love getting a coffee before I go to work.
Okay.
Like every morning.
Okay. And do you go to therapy? Do you do journaling or anything like that? Or is it mainly just, it's all physical for you?
I've seen, I work with a mindset coach in camps leading into major fights. And I've seen some psychologists. I saw a psychologist after trying to manage what to do after losing, not making it through to the Olympics. But I don't regularly see anyone. And I don't really journal. I've never been a real writer.
Okay, that's fair. And so tell us one thing you've learned from this mindset coach.
I guess trusting, learning to accept my strengths and trusting my fight camps, and that I am worthy and I am ready to be able to take on that challenge and win. It's like just reframing certain things in my mind as well. Things when they don't go perfectly right, that things don't have to go perfectly right for you to get the result that you want.
Okay. Give us an example of a reframe.
I guess not going into that negative mindset after, say, you're 2 weeks out. The spars that you do are really, really important. And one of them, I just had a terrible spar and lost the rounds. And my coach was even saying to me, this is not how you're going to win a world title. What are you going to do? This is what are you doing kind of thing. And you could very easily just ruminate on that and then just fall down into a negative kind of mindset trap. And he then kind of is able to pose questions to you and change your thought process of it. That was just a one-off moment, and that I can change that tomorrow, and that it's not the time that counted anyway. The time that counts is on game day. And to just be like, okay, what can I change? What can I learn from that? And what can I improve on from next time?
Yeah.
Rather than it's very easy to just get inside your head and just be like, your coach just said, that's not how you fight.
Yeah, because there's so much noise. There's obviously noise. There's noise in your own head. And then if your coach is saying this and your performance is doing one thing, it must be hard to find balance, right? Because all these things exteriorly are saying, fuck, you fucked that up. You fucked that spar up. Your coach is saying it. You're saying it in your own head. So, yeah.
That's why it actually is really nice. And I think it's really important for me anyway to have a mindset coach in my fight camp that is sometimes can help. Even though I know the right thing to do, sometimes it's nice to just have someone ask those questions and go, does it mean this? What happens? Can you fix that next time? And it's just a reminder to put those positive thinking cycles back in your mind.
Yeah, there's something called DBT, which is challenging the thought. So what thought do you have? You might think oh, I'm useless. And you go, well, are you useless?
Are you useless? What? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So you delve a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So not a lot of therapy, but she still uses this. Everyone, it's all the same thing. With a mindset coach, therapist, everyone kind of uses the same thing, different terms, in my opinion.
simple stuff. Like people are like,
It is
oh, what
really
did he tell
basic
you?
stuff.
What did he teach you? And I was like, it seems really simple. And I'm like,
just
you don't
said-
understand.
yeah,
It
he
was
just
like,
says, don't-
it was mind breaking. It was
100%. 100%. Okay. Tell us about, I noticed when I was checking out your Instagram, doing a little bit of research, OnlyFans. Tell us a little bit about your OnlyFans.
That's only a kind of recent thing. It came initially as being a sponsored athlete. When I signed with Salida Promotions, I had my first fight in Detroit back in September, and OnlyFans was a sponsor of the event. So I had presented to me, they would pay me to be an athlete. They put forward 3 athletes. They wanted 1 athlete that was fighting on the card, and they selected me and said, if you want to take on this, it means that you'll have to open up an account, but we will sponsor to help your career go along. And initially, I didn't really know too much about OnlyFans at all. I was just like, oh my God, it's like a pornography site. Like, what the hell? And I won't lie, there's certain parts of it that are very like using your sexuality to be able to get views and make money and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, let's look into it. And I had a little bit of a sit-down meeting with one of the head directors of there, and he said, you're allowed to put on whatever content that you want. You can just do your training information. If you want to do pornography, you can do pornography. You just want to do your swimsuit stuff, you could. It's like totally up to you. We're not going to make you do stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good financial help, and as I told you, I'm not getting paid that much. So that really kind of helped my career go along. And I was like, you know what? I was probably worried about the judgment of other people as well. I was like, oh, what are they going to think of me? But I did also know, I don't know whether you've heard of Ebony Bridges. She is like a multimillionaire now, and she was an Aussie boxer that got offered the same kind of thing. And I still speak to her. She's moved over to London there. And she was like, I've never got fully naked in there or done anything. I was like, she's like, I've certainly used and like poses and stuff like that. And she's like, okay, like you do that anyway. She's the one that told me. She was like, you put in your recovery sessions on your Instagram, you're in a bikini and you post a picture. She's like, you may as well get paid for it if you put it on there anyway. And I was like, yeah. So as I've got along with it, like if I can get paid, like if I'm very happy with the way that I look and if I can get paid for putting some lingerie, I was like, what's the difference between me being like a lingerie model and a magazine going out and seeing me there? Or I was like, if that's giving me a little bit of money and it means I don't have to have this extra hospitality shift that I'm working on a Saturday night and I can bring some money in that way, I'm way more comfortable with where I'm at with it now, and I'm in the control seat to put what I want down there. And I include my training, I include just my family life, more of me to connect with fans, but also know that some of the paid content, if I put a bikini picture of me with my cleavage, or I'm wearing a G-string bikini and people want to see it and they want to pay for it, then show me the money.
Why not? And if you're kind of doing it anyway on your social media, and like the reason I asked you is because like I knew you didn't have a full-on pornography side, but OnlyFans is just like it's a tool, right? And how you decide to use it is how you decide to use it.
Yeah, at your own discretion.
And so how did you get over that fear of judgment initially? Obviously by speaking to Ebony, that would have probably,
that really did help things. And then I knew that I wanted to take that sponsorship opportunity, and I was like, initially when I first started, I only kind of put training stuff on, and then you kind of work out how the whole platform works and everything, and I was like, I'll put a bikini picture and see what happens, and then suddenly you're getting like every person that puts it on, they're like paying $5 for it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is making business and making sense. And I was like, I don't really care what Joe Blow down the road thinks of me doing OnlyFans. I was like, do I really care? I was like, I told my parents that I've got the sponsorship, and even then, like it's how I feel about it, and what do I feel comfortable with.
Have you copped any negative stuff?
A couple of
online or-
people just on socials have gone, I'm really disappointed that you've gone down that track and blah, blah, blah. And I've openly just responded back to them and going, I'm a sponsored athlete by them. This is what I choose to do. I don't do anything there that I'm like unashamed of.
Yeah.
And if that's your opinion, that's fine. You're allowed your opinion.
So no close friends or family, like,
No, not
yeah,
at
that's
all.
good.
Like, so I was actually quite surprised. Some of them were like, yeah, why not? I was like, you're only in your prime for a certain period of time anyway. And some people would say I'm probably past my prime. But
Hey, world
like,
title holder, like, come on. We're peaking right now, I believe.
I was like, yeah, I'll use it while I can.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just mindful of the time. So world title holder, like, what's next for you? Like, what's on the horizon in your boxing career?
You don't see me now, but I've only just come out of a splint. So I broke a bone in my hand. So I've actually been out of action kind of from punching, or I've been punching with one hand for a while. So I only got full clearance last Sunday by the doctor. So I've started punching again. So I'll probably chat with my manager over in America now, and he can start looking at trying to formalize the defense of my belts. So it would probably likely be overseas because my promotional company is Salida Promotions, which is an American company. But we weren't kind of pushing for anything because it can take a lot longer before you're able to punch. But luckily for me, it was in the shortest time frame. It could have been up to another kind of like 2 months that I was out of action. You can't negotiate any fights for time dates where you can't commit to anything.
Okay.
So I'm very happy that I can punch again. I was really happy last night to have the headgear on at
Hey,
training
she's
and
back.
back to it.
She's back. So when do you think we could see her in the ring defending this title?
I'd love before June, like May, June.
Okay.
I'd love to. So stay tuned.
Keep your eyes peeled. One last question before we wrap things up, Kay. I want you to think about the best piece of advice you've ever been given and who is it from?
Ooh. Oh, you're gonna stump me right at the end. I'd probably have something to do with don't worry about other people's opinions so much.
That's topical considering we're just talking
Yeah.
OnlyFans, yeah.
And it's not
Is there
just
something you
about
think you
the
struggled with when
OnlyFans,
you were
but
younger?
people's judgment. You just need to be confident in the choice of direction, whether that's what you want to choose for your for school subjects for high school and like what you want to do there, or whether what job you want to take, what anything. You just need to be confident in yourself, and who cares about what other people think? Like, why are you going to let their little voice detract what direction you want to move forward in? Like, you just don't need to care what they think at all. And I think that's really, really important. And it's again, I think it's something that comes with a little bit of maturity and getting a little bit older as well. But I'd love people to like at least be aware of that and try to be like, who says they can't do? I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I do that? Because you can.
Yeah. It's definitely a wisdom thing as you get older because like we are social creatures, right? We don't want to like, ostracize ourselves from the crowd. So when you're younger, you're in high school, there's, social groups and you don't want to be.
Yeah, you kind of conform a little
Yeah,
bit
correct.
more
You
to,
conform.
I
And
don't
as
wanna
you
be
get
that
older, you
person
go,
that everyone's
yeah, exactly. So as you get older, you go, I'd rather be happy than be a conformist, right? And I think one of the most important things people can take on board is people don't actually give a fuck about you anyway.
Yeah.
So they might say something about you for 30 seconds and then they've got their own shit, their own life to deal with. And no one's...
very egocentric. Everyone thinks it's about you. They care about more about what's happening in their life.
Correct. Even your closest friends, like they definitely care, but it's like everyone's got their own stuff to deal with.
And so much stuff to deal with. Like you're like you're not in the front of their mind.
And it could be like depressing or empowering. Going, well, no one actually cares about you, so take that with a grain of salt. There's two ways to look at that. Okay, I'm mindful of the time. Thank you so much for stopping by. Amazing conversation. If anyone wants to follow you on social media and witness when this title fight's going to be and keep up with you and see what you're up to, how can they do that?
My Instagram is my name, Kaye Scott. So on there or on OnlyFans is where I drop the first news, and I've got a Facebook page as well, Kaye Scott Boxer. So I announce on all my socials. So hopefully in the next few weeks I might have something to announce. hopefully.
Oh, exciting. Well, thanks so much, Kaye. You're a very inspiring woman. Thanks so much for having the show. I love chatting to you. Might get my little daughters doing some PT with you one of these days. We'll see. So I want them fighting off all the boys. Like I want them world class, right?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Thank you so much for listening this far, guys. Please rate the show, share it with a friend. You never know who it might help today, and it can help us get more amazing guests like Kaye. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and peace out. We will see you next time.
Ciao.
Later.
You've been listening to Into Deep. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode to help someone else on their growth journey.